All right, recording. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. I just wanna hear your name. If you can say your name. I'm Haesung Lee, and from Brentwood, California. So the place and the name, please. Joseph?
Yes, Joseph. I'm living in Petersburg, Virginia.
Oh, okay, welcome. And Myung-eun?
My name is Myung-eun Park, and I live in Lynn in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay, great. See you, Ra?
Hello, my name is Teman Ro. I'm living in McLean in Virginia.
Hey, good morning. Soyun? Soyun?
Hi, my name is Suyeon Kim. I live in Amherst, Hadley, Massachusetts.
Hey, good morning. Young-hap?
Morning, Young Hak Lee here. I'm in Pennsylvania, Paoli, serving Paoli UMC.
Welcome. And Austin?
Hello, I'm Huisuk Lee. Yeah, actually, my name has the Austin, but my name is Huisuk Lee. And I'm
Huisuk?
living in, Huisuk. Yeah, I'm living in Stockton, New Jersey.
Oh, okay. So nice to see you all. Well, it's my honor to share this time with you. I will share the PowerPoint with you. Okay. So, Ministry of Reconciliation. In Korean, I call it 관계 사역. And the Bible verse, main one is, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. So it would be honor if people in the community who don't know who we are, just by watching that we know how to make peace, they will call us, oh, these are the children of God. So that's the real blessing that we are aiming to achieve, come true in our lives through the lives that we live together. So there was a joke around 1980. It's about Korean American Christian. It was on, the cartoon was on Newsweek magazine, and he said there was a man, a Korean man, stranded in an uninhabited island, and he was there maybe several years. But later he was found, and people rescued him, and then they saw there were 3 houses, not one house, but 3 houses. So they wondered, so you built 3 houses, why 3? And he said, one for my house to live, and the other one, the second one, is my church, and the third, I had to build it because I did not like my first church. So, conflict, especially in the church, was really especially for Korean American churches. But every church is like that, we all struggle with conflict, and you leave one church and build another one, then you keep doing it. And that's the history of many Korean American churches. So conflict is well known to all of us, and we tend to ignore or just, you don't want to deal with conflict. I met another pastor yesterday, and we were talking about conflict, and we all agreed that we don't like conflict. Many pastors are like that. So today, Ministry of Reconciliation, we are going to deal with a definition of conflict, and then slippery slope of conflict responses. And thirdly, 5 phases of conflict development. 4, anatomy of conflict. 5, structure of dialogue. 6, spirituality of conflict resolution. And question and answer and references. But you guys can raise your hand anytime when you have question, okay? There are a lot of information today. I don't want to just share only information. I want to have conversation with you. I wonder if you can see the whole picture. Can you? Okay, good. So conflict is a crisis of relationship caused by differences of ideas and opinions and purposes. So as you know, the crisis in Chinese letter, it means danger and opportunity. It is always danger, but it always offers opportunities. So when did you start learning about Christian way of conflict resolution? For me, actually, until the middle of 30s, when I started my ministries, and also my mother-in-law came over from Korea to USA to live with us, and the real conflict began. And I knew that, oh, I was not ready. I have never learned how to deal with conflicts in Christian way, right? Is there any steps or any, what is the way, Christian ways to deal with conflict? And and I realized that I had no idea. It was weird. I mean, my father was pastor and I grew up in church, and I don't remember any time that I was taught about Christian ways to deal with conflict. So I Googled, and I really looked into other resources. So I went to Mennonite Peace Center in Chicago area, and they have a long history of teaching how to deal with a conflict in Christian way. So I went there many times, and I also went to the Peacemaker Ministries. They also offered a lot of workshops, and I started actually the workshop for conflict resolution and reconciliation, peacemaking workshops for all the pastors in USA. I mean, for United Methodist, Korean American United Methodist churches. So I worked with the Committee on Reconciliation and Reunification of Korea, North and South Korea. That committee is still working, but I'm not really involved anymore. But that committee took over this workshop, and we offered this workshop to many churches, to many Korean American pastors. So that's how we got it started. So next, what we learn about the conflict from the Bible. Conflict is normal thing. Everybody has conflict. Having conflict does not mean that something wrong with you, or you are not mature, or you did something wrong, or there's nothing like that. Everybody has conflict. So Bible tells us that even our Almighty God has a lot of conflicts with his people. Moses, even Adam, the first man, did not really, listen, and almost everybody in the Bible had conflict with God. And then when I said this, some people really don't like it because they believe that God does not have conflict. So it's up to you. You may think that, well, maybe God does not have conflict, but the Bible stories tells the stories like, God is in conflict. So it's up to you. And conflict may go really bad, and it could be destructive, and it can destroy the whole community. But also at the same time, conflict can be constructive. So you can really turn your community around to grow stronger, to get more mature, to be better representation of Jesus Christ here. So I hope you have at least some conflicts in your church. Yes or no? Do you have some conflict? Okay. Thank God you are not denying. So that's a good thing. So next thing that I want to share with you is the slippery slope. So this was made by the Peacemaker Ministry. Ken Sand, he started the ministries in 1990s, and he was a lawyer. Okay, and he was a Christian lawyer, and he saw the same thing. Why Christians keep fighting and don't know how to solve conflicts in better way? And then he started digging into Bible and all kinds of resources, and he collected a lot of lawyers. So many lawyers, they got together and they started this Peacemaker Ministries team, and they got this book, Peacemaker book. If you can see, no. Well, I will share all the resources with you at the end, and I will send you, where to buy, or those references with you. Okay, so the slippery slope. The main thing is you gotta stay on the top. This is a slope, slippery slope. So if you do not stay on the top, you will be slipping down this way or that way, and you will fall down to darkness. Okay, in order to stay on the top, you gotta work really hard. The 5 options here. The first one is overlook. The second one is direct dialogue. And then mediation, not meditation. Mediation and arbitration and church discipline. These are the peacemaking routes, and you have to work it out. This is never easy, but this is what Jesus suggested. And then on the left side, if you do not stay on the top, you may go to left and escape route, and you do denial and flight and suicide. This is a peace faking route, right? And then when you go to the right, that's a peace breaking route, attacking. So you do assault, litigation. I thought litigation was before assault. Okay, litigation and then assault and murder. That's attack responses. Okay, let's go deeper with each of this a little bit. So overlooking. While God has, this is from Acts chapter 17, verse 30. While God has overlooked the times of human ignorance, now he commands all people everywhere to repent. So because people did many bad stuff because they did not know what God wanted really. So while you don't know, you can be forgiven. So God overlooked our sins. And also Proverbs 19:11, it says, those with good sense are slow to anger, and it is their glory to overlook an offense. So overlooking is a very biblical way to deal with conflict. And we are very good because you don't have to really say anything or deal with people because it's in your mind. You say, well, I want to give them benefit of doubt, right? And you wait and pray for them, and then when they changed or when they repent, you think, oh, I was right to give them benefit of doubt, and then so there is a little forgiveness there, and so many church people, your congregation love doing overlooking because they don't want to make any scenes or any fights. Okay, and are you a pastor who overlooks 1 out of 10 times or 9 out of 10 times? Are you, which one are you? Just anybody? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm overlooking maybe 9 out of 10 times.
Oh, okay. One more person? Anybody? You don't want to confess?
I think I do overlook 9 of 10 times, or almost 10 out of 10 times.
Oh, okay. So why do we need to practice overlooking in our faith journey? Well, why? Can you think of any good reasons?
I don't want to make a trouble.
Okay, sure. Anybody else? Well, one of the reasons for me is you don't have the whole picture, right? Yeah, so we don't know what's really going on behind. You don't want to jump in with the judgment. You don't want to make a mistake. So there are maybe Sangho, Pastor Sangho had share with you, those mantra that you are doing. Would you share that whenever things happen, you say stuff?
Oh, yeah, this is just my personal mantra. I said, I'm not God. I'm just a creature. I have no power, I have no plan. I trust God, I follow God.
Yeah.
Keep saying that when something happens beyond my ability, because I don't know what's going on actually, and I cannot control the situation.
Yeah, yeah. So it helps. I started using that one too whenever things happen. Okay. So next one is direct dialogue. So you keep doing overlooking, but there is a time that you have to stop overlooking and start direct talking. It is the time when you feel a wall growing between you and the person. You feel the wall, there is a wall you feel. It was not there before, but because of all the mistakes or offenses, there is a wall. You don't want to open up your hearts as before. You don't want to talk to the person anymore. There's a wall. You feel it, and it is growing. And then you better think about approaching that person and start trying direct dialogue. So actually, the main Bible verse for today is Matthew chapter 18, verse 15. If your brother or sister sins against you, go and point out the fault when the two of you are alone. If you are listened to, you have regained that one. So direct dialogue, important that you do it directly with the offender when there is no one else, just two of you, go to that person, you and the person, and tell her how you felt when he did something. You have to share, use I statement, and what he did, and how you felt, and what you want him to do from that day, from that time on. So you share the event and your feeling and what you want. Okay, so those are important items that you have to really articulate and clarify with the offender. So you gotta be prepared to have this direct talk. Don't just go, and say whatever, explode your emotions or something like that. So one thing important in this verse is Jesus talked to, not to the offender, right? So somebody, your brother or sister, sins against you. So you are the offended. Somebody did wrong to you. So you are the one who was hurt. So Jesus was not talking to the offender. Jesus talking to the offended, the harmed, the wronged. Do you know why? Because more than 90% the offenders, they don't remember what they did. There is a famous TV drama, Monk. I love that show, Monk. And he was bullied when he was 5th grade, horribly. And then later he became, famous detective. And then he met the one who bullied him horribly when they were 5th grade. And they met And monk naturally expected him to say sorry to him, but the offender, the one who bullied him, he was so happy to monk, and he said, "Wow, monk, we used to have a wonderful time together. Wasn't it great time that we had together?" So he had no idea, you know. So out of your experience, you may agree, people who did something wrong, really, they don't know what they did. So that's why Jesus is talking to the offended, because they don't forget and they are still struggling and they don't know what to do about it. So Jesus tells them, well, you got to talk to them. Okay, so you are vulnerable, so you may have fear and shame. So it's not easy to do direct dialogue. Okay. What if you are the offender and you don't remember what you did? Okay, sometimes you did this, wrongs to other people and you don't remember. There are so many things like that, especially pastors, you say something during your preaching and then you didn't know that you offended somebody, right? I saw when I first began my ministry, during my preaching, I said, there was a lady, very old lady, who was 52 years old. Long time ago, I didn't know, that that would be so offensive. 52 years old people are old. They are not. They're never old. They are so young, and so many people in the congregation, they teased me with that incident until I left that church after 3 years. We left, but yeah, you don't know what you did. Then Jesus said in another place, chapter 5, verses 23, 24. So when you are offering your gift at the altar, if you remember that your brother or sister has something against you, so you are the one who did something wrong to somebody, right? Then leave your gift there before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother or sister and then come and offer your gift. So this Bible verse was given to those who did wrongs against the other brothers and sisters. Okay, so Jesus did not forget to instruct people who did something wrong, right? So what makes your direct dialogue hard? So when you go to your brothers and sisters after you realized that you did something wrong, you acknowledge your wrongs. Oh, that was my mistakes, my wrongs. I did wrong to you. And you have to say sorry. And you have to say, I will remember not to do it again. And is there anything that you can make that person feel better? Then you offer those actions. I will buy you tea. I will buy you a meal. Let's reconcile together, something like that. But you gotta be careful. It's up to them to choose the time to forgive you or to reconcile with you. So you have to respect the other person, and you have to say, I'm not asking for your forgiveness right now, but whenever you can, please keep me in your mercy, something like that. So that's another whole whole thing to learn, about saying sorry and saying forgive, the words of forgiveness. That's another whole classes, I think. So that's direct dialogue. Do you have any question? Okay. And the next one, we go to when a direct talk does not work, you gotta get help from other people. Mediation. Okay, you gotta go to mediation. So Jesus continues to say, but if you are not listened to, take one or two others along with you, so that every word may be confirmed by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. So it's important that you talk to people who were involved, or sometimes, in other Bible verses, you have to get help from wiser, spiritually, people who are more mature, who know more about this kind of stuff. You can bring those people with you and help ask those people to be in the conversation with you, so that that person can feel safe and you can feel safe, and you guys can talk, even though it's uncomfortable. You just talk about what happened, what it did to you, how you felt, and what is that you want. Those 4 things, you have to say that. And we know the story of David and Nathan. King David offended so many people, including God. He lied, he committed adultery, and he coveted wife of other person, and he conspired to kill, and he kept deceiving all those who gave him trust. Lots of sins. And all those who were offended, they, because of power differences, they could not talk to King David, and they were not asking for help, or maybe they prayed. So maybe that's why God called Prophet Nathan, to take the role of mediation and the mediator here. So Prophet Nathan confronted King David. He had a lot of skills. When you read 2 Samuel chapter 12, he came up with this very creative stories, and he was very brave, and he was so spiritual, and so his expertise really could open up King David's heart. So that kind of work is really needed. That's mediation. And there is a mediation seminar, especially by Mennonite Peace Center. They have done this like 100 years. So you can learn so much from them. So mediators among us. This is from Galatians chapter 6, verse 1. My brothers and sisters, if anybody is detected in a transgression, you who have received the Spirit should restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Take care that you yourselves are not tempted. So we are all called to be a mediator. especially pastors. And with the help of Holy Spirit, you try to restore this person. This one is offender, but you gotta approach in a spirit of gentleness, speaking the truth in love, and take care that you yourselves are not tempted. This means that as you work as a mediator, you think that you are somebody, right? And you forgot to be humble. And the wisdom that can help anybody comes from the Holy Spirit, not from you. So you may be tempted as a mediator to be, like, oh, I'm teaching you, I'm trying to change you, I'm trying to correct you. That's not the mediators should do. Okay, mediation, sharing and reflection. When you need a mediator to whom you would go for help, have you been invited to be a mediator? How did it go? What can we learn from Jesus, who is the ultimate mediator between God and humanity? But actually, you guys can spend an hour by sharing all these answers to these questions in a small group. If you want to share anything, regarding mediation or anything else, you can share. Or
Well, in
questions?
our Methodist system, when I need a mediator, I usually go to district superintendent. So when my SPIC chair give hard time to me, I try to talk to SPIC chair directly. If it doesn't work, I talk to DS to be a mediator.
Good. Okay. And then there is a stronger one, arbitration. So mediation doesn't have enforcing power, but arbitration has enforcing power even within the church. So you gotta agree on recommendation of terms of agreement between the two people and imposing terms of agreement. That's for arbitration. But we don't go that far much, right? But if things are getting serious, district superintendent really can impose stuff so that we can eliminate some people from membership, or pastors can be suspended, and it may happen. All right. And then church discipline. Matthew 18 continues here. If that person refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. Okay, that's what Jesus said. Some scholars said when Jesus was ministering to his disciples and the people before he died and resurrected, there was no church. So these Bible verses, passages must have been created by disciples. I agree. There was no, ecclesia, the word, the church at the time. But I am sure the wisdom of this passage came from Jesus. That's my belief. It's up to you. But anyway, so what church can do? just resolution. So church can agree upon just resolution with the help of mediator, work on confession and apology, accountability, and agreement that is satisfactory to all parties. If it doesn't work, you gotta go to church trial, okay? So as you know, there's a church trial is going on, in our annual conference. And so I read a book of discipline about this. And there is a church trial even with the matter of lay people. So it's all written in the book of discipline, church trials. So this is the last resort, and its purpose is to realize God's work of justice and reconciliation and healing in the body of Jesus Christ. It's from the book of discipline. Okay, so what if it doesn't work? Separation and restoration. And if the offender refuses to listen even to the church, let such a one be to you as a Gentile and tax collector. Okay, so the offender still refuses to listen. Then there's nothing else you can do. Yeah, you cannot consider them as fellow believers, because those people do not uphold the covenant that we have made. But doesn't mean they have to be treated like outcasts or sinners, like who are different from us. But the thing is, Jesus is saying this, and then we know that Jesus treated tax collectors and Gentiles and sinners with lots of compassion and love, and he did a lot of outreaching and also the work ministry of restoration. They did not leave the church on their own will, some of them, and even on their will, but still they were the recipients of Jesus' attention and Jesus' care. So we know Apostle Matthew, who wrote this passage, right? We can find this conflict resolution passage only in the Gospel of Matthew. And Matthew was tax collector, and he knew how Jesus treated him. And he included this passage because it is so important to him. So ministry of restoration, that's another maybe 1 or 2 classes. So next one. So this was the first one that I showed, the slippery slope. We talked about staying on the top of the slope. Okay, so the left column is talking about escape. Let's talk about that a little bit. Denial, flight, and suicide. So what's the difference between denial and overlook? Overlook means forgiveness there, right? Inside, in your hearts. But denial, you cannot forgive. Okay, there is no forgiveness. You just deny. You want to just run away, right? And denial versus flight versus suicide. So denial is pretense in relationship. Flight means act of separation. quitting a job, divorce, leaving a church, disaffiliation. That's what's happening in our denomination. Flight and suicide. See no other option for peace. So that's escape. Okay, so peace, pretend, peace faking. This is peace faking. An attack route, litigation, assault, and murder. Litigation. Christians do a lot of litigation, depending on the situation. Paul asked for it. He could have been just released, but he wanted to go for trial so that he could meet the emperor, the kings. So that was his purpose, to meet people in higher power and spread the gospel, so that Christians could be saved from more persecutions and stuff. And we remember in our United States of America history, USA history, Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka. Yeah, we went out to litigation, and that end of race-based school segregation could start. So a lot of good things, litigation, but between believers, litigation, if before you go to litigation, there are tons of lists to check if you have done everything you could. Is there any other option to resolve this conflict without going forward litigation? And to some people, litigation, they do not acknowledge or follow the law, and they go forward with assault and murder. So that's the whole slippery slope. Do you have any questions? So I'm going to give you a little, maybe what time is it? Five minute break. Let's get together 5 to noon. Okay, see you later. So can I start? Okay. So we are going to do 5 phases of conflict development. So we can learn what's happening as the conflict develops and grows. So the horizontal means conflict development, and vertical means ability to communicate. So it begins at A. A is the beginning of phase of conflict, and this is the time when people focus on issues. Okay, what's happening? What is the issues? And you still you focus on problem solving, but you don't really share what's in deep in your inside. You know, what is your real purpose or demand or need, and you are little emotional, but you are controlling it. Yeah, controlling it still, and you still you have lack of information and understanding what's happening really, and who are the players. You know, the whole picture is not there. So people who have a conflict phobia, there are people like that in church a lot, and they just, I don't want conflict like this, and then they leave the church right away at this stage. And well-trained communicator can bring conflict resolution at this phase through listening and negotiation skills. So you can, help people to share more information and what do you really want at this point, and so let people open up more and share more. So this conflict may be reserved, but it may continue to grow, and at the point of B, the focus is shifted on now self-protection already. So generalization of words prevails, like, he never listened to me. That's a generalization. 1 or 2 times, maybe he listened, but out of 100%, he never listened. That's a generalization of language. And everyone attacks me, everyone says this, and those are generalization. Those kind of things happen a lot. And character assassination begins. He's really evil already. They say that they characterize and assassin character assassination. And issues become second priority. You still talk about issues, but it's not the #1 priority. And you focus on self-defense and preservation, and need those who keep trying to communicate with ones on the other side through trusted open channels. So always there are some people who still have networking relationship with the people on the other side. So still the conversation may continue, and so you can make a negotiation. Then the conflict continued to develop to point C. Now your focus is on winning in this power struggle. And everyone acts like experts who knows everything, who can read minds of the others. I know what they're doing, why they're doing, That's what that means. Everybody knows everything. And twisting and manipulating words and situations, and polarization grows. But this is the best timing for serious negotiation. Because most of issues and emotions have been revealed. There are enough known factors. Now people can be really honest, and what we want, and how we feel. Everything is out there revealed. And people still care for issues and relationships. Still, so this is best time for most effective mediation. Professional mediator can be helped. But it may go to point D. Now the focus is on getting rid of the others. All the people, you have to get rid of them. No one cares for issues anymore. Mostly they engage in denouncing, criticizing what happened the most recently. And when you see people, they look like problems. Oh, Mr. Kim came. No, you say, oh, the problem number one came or something like that. Everybody looked like the problems. At this point, the problem solving can happen only through getting rid of the other. So maybe this is the phase that we are experiencing as a denomination. We are disaffiliating, so separating. It is like Joseph's brothers selling him as a slave to Egypt, got rid of him. But still at this point, the brothers, they stayed in their home. They did not follow Joseph to Egypt and make sure, do everything to destroy him. That's the last point. The focus is on destroying the other. So everybody feels called by God to destroy the other party from the earth. They pray for this mission. They work so hard to succeed. Each own opinions and positions become their faith confession. So, like terrorist, religious terrorists. These are, even after the other left to a faraway place, people believe that it is their duty for God's justice to go there and make sure the others suffer and being destroyed. And sadly, I have seen those people in my life in Chicago, and people followed this pastor after this pastor left, almost destroyed, left Chicago to someplace else, and they followed him to the other place, and they did so many things to destroy this pastor. Yeah, so sad, so sad. So anytime we can stop this, anytime through listening, through negotiating skills. So how important that we stop this path, right? And we are all called to do that. Any questions or sharing? You look sad. Yeah.
I asked them, do not come to class if they don't have conflict in their ministry. So they came here today. I guess they have some conflict.
Okay, maybe they all think that, oh, I feel better because some other pastors are going through horrible times. Yeah, okay. So next one, so we've been thinking about, what to do and, what's happening with conflict. And this one is anatomy of conflict. So how conflict looks like when you analyze, open up, the stomach and see, then there are causes at the center, causes of conflict, and then accelerants of conflict, and on the other appearance, on the surface, you see all kinds of symptoms, right? And you may just deal with the symptoms, or if you have more experiences and experts, you may deal with work with accelerants or causes, or all of them. So there are many stuff shows up. Don't be overwhelmed. Just that this is just a little showing of what's happening. So the symptoms is easy, right? You see complaint and blaming and identifying people with issues and stereotyping and power struggle and polarization, tribal battle, and absence of leadership, and sense of community disappeared and community destroyed. Those are symptoms. We see that. And accelerants are actually, that's human needs. Everybody has needs. And safety is the basic needs. So when conflict begins, if anybody is not secured with safety in so many ways, emotional safety, physical safety, then conflict is accelerating, right? So unmet human needs, those are accelerants. And if you are safe enough, you want stability, like you want predictability, some kind of stability in your church. But each congregation member, if some of them do not have stability at home, personally, just lost job and divorcing personally, individually, then, those can be accelerants too. And then belongings in the church, in family, this is basic human needs. And you don't feel that you are securely belonged, then it could be also accelerant to all kinds of conflicts. And then you want to be recognized by people. If all other needs are met, you are safe and you are stable and you belong and you feel loved, then you want to be respected and recognized. And then you are being recognized and respected, and you want to continue to grow and you want to achieve the higher purpose of your life or your presence. So those are human needs. And we have to take a look at the players in the conflict situations, individually, personally, how their human needs are met, So maybe you can help those people to meet their needs more than, the whole conflict situation in the church may slow down and, settle down a little bit. So it's very important to care for human needs. And causes of conflict, there are 5 stuff here. First one, relational thing happened. Secondly, informational thing happened. The informational thing may happen a lot in the church, like every Sunday there is a miscommunication in the bulletins and somebody is offended and, like all those things, or it could be big ones. confidentiality is broken down, something like that could happen like that. And number three, the benefit gain. What's in for me, here? What do I gain? What is the thing that I can get it from all this? Everybody, this is so important to everybody. But this can be a big causes to conflict. And number four, structural, physical structure or relational work relationship. Sometimes pastors, when you are appointed to a new church, you may take a look at the whole structure, working structure, ministry structure, relational structure. If you see, some odd things or some spaces that need to be fixed, just work on it with people who understand and make the structure, ministry structure, communication structure, emotional structure, things like that, more stronger, repair them, strengthen the structure, then a lot of conflicts may stop. I wonder, Sungho can share something like that. Sungho,
Yeah,
is it okay that you can share?
yeah, I can share. Some of the conflicts in our church actually has informational or structural things. For example, in our church, some of the conflicts came between trustee members and columbarium committee members. We have a columbarium, that's the place where we store ashes and urns of the deceased ones. So columbarium, even though it's a church property, so even though it belongs to the trustee care, they have their own separate committee. And they have a designated fund. When the family members donated like $10,000 and $20,000, so they have about $100,000 asset to maintain the columbarium. And structurally, trustee is the committee. We have 4 essential committees: finance, trustee, SPR, and nomination, lay leadership development. Those 4 essential committees are supporting our ministry, and we call the worship, education, and mission. So those 3 committees are ministry committees, and they are doing ministries, but these 4 essential committees are supporting the ministry. Finance committee support the ministry with money, and trustee support the ministry with the facility, and SPRC support the ministry with the staff members, and lay leadership development committee, they support the ministry with the volunteers. So they are working together, 3 and 4 working together. In that structure, columbarium committee is under the trustee. And that's the basic information and structure. But when the columbarium committee chair did not know the church structure and didn't have that information, she thought that I'm an independent committee chair. Why should I report to the chair of the trustee? And they fight. So I said that I explained it. Oh, because those 4 basic essential committees are supporting those 3 committees that I call VIP. I call that VIP because worship committee deal with the value, kingdom value, and education committee deals with identity, kingdom identity. We are the children of God. We are the disciples of Jesus Christ. and we are the citizen of God's kingdom. And mission committee deals with the purpose. We are here to be a blessing to others. So I call it the VIP purpose, VIP ministry. So I said that, you know, trustee support the VIP, and she thought that I called the trustee chair of VIP, very important person, and she's not a VIP. And that's misinformation. So I said that when we have a correct information and information about the correct structure, the cause of the conflict went away. Otherwise, they just fight because who is more important, whose job is more important, and why am I under your leadership, things like that. But after I explain all those things like this 10 minutes, she now said, okay, now I got it. And I'm sorry, I misunderstand you.
Thank you. That was great example. Yeah. That's my husband. Oh, they didn't know. That's a good information. All right. Okay. So pay attention to causes. The last one is values. That is so important. You know, what do we value? I think our denominational disaffiliation is happening because of values. You know, do we value equally to stuff that we value? It's so different. So I think information has been shared enough. Everybody knows who we are, what's, you know, what is the issues and everything. So the value is important. So whenever we take a vote, some people leave the church, right? When our church became reconciling congregation, it was not 2015, and 3 families silently left. Yeah, they didn't want to talk about it. They didn't even come to me, and you know, even when I call them, they don't say that. But we know that, yeah, it is the values. So okay, is this helpful? I mean, if you can pay attention to the causes and human needs, maybe you can find some stuff to do that you can do about. Okay, so basically, all this information can be helpful, but if you do not listen carefully, if you do not speak carefully, then you know you may you may do more wrongs to the situation. So this is a structure of dialogue. Basically, these 4 items. It is so important, but we forget to include in our speaking and listening, so that we just keep sharing our emotions or what we demand or what are our needs. You know, a long time ago, I had a friend, she was a pastor. She's a pastor, and she's very emotional. Whatever she's passionate about, she likes to talk about it. But she was never able to tell us what happened. Okay, so she started talking about what happened, and then she just jumped in her emotion and demand, and then so I keep asking, so what happened? So tell me what happened. And she started back again, explaining what happened, and then she jumped in right away into emotion again. And so it is very hard to speak carefully, okay. All these four stuff needs to be heard and spoken. If you speak only three, then you are not speak carefully, okay? you understand the fully means what fully means, huh? So you gotta say the fact, event, what happened, right? It's like the cause event that causing the conflict. What happened? Event. And then the next one is because of what happened, my needs or somebody's needs were not met. So my need to be respected was not met, or my need to be effective was not met because of what happened, something like that. So the needs are not met or met. And then emotion, because of those unmet needs, I feel this way. So you have to be able to describe your emotion. And when I went to seminar, a lot of speakers focus on how to describe your emotion, because women usually they are good with describing their emotion, but men they don't know what is emotional, what is not, or the words for emotion. So they focus on training men to describe their emotions. And demand, okay. So there is always something that you want. It's not about emotion, it's not about needs. There is a demand that you want to really the other person to know, understand, and work on it. So when you speak, try to speak all these four stuff fully. And when you listen, listen to all these four stuff. Yeah, every single one here is important in resolving the conflict. If you miss the demand, if you miss the emotion, if you miss the needs, or if you misunderstand the event, yeah, the conflicts will continue to develop, grow.
Yeah, when you talk about men,
Yeah.
usually men, they say that when I come home, the dinner was not ready. That my stomach was so hungry, so I need the dinner. It was not met. So I was so hungry. I need dinner at 5 o'clock all the time. That was his demand. But hungry is not an emotion. So I point out that to the man, and then he said, "That's my emotion." And sometimes the faculty members said, "Man has only two emotions, hungry and horny." And women said, "No, they are not emotions. They are just the physical needs. Men do not know what emotions are, sad or joyful or happy. They just said, I'm hungry and I need make love. That's all." And I was so, it was hilarious. Yeah, so we men, we need to speak fully, carefully, what our needs and what our emotions are. Otherwise, many times we just say that, oh, I need to eat, I need to sleep. That's all.
Mm. Any other sharing? Yeah, it takes training or practice a lot. Yeah. Okay, next one, spirituality of conflict resolution. So Jesus gave the passage on conflict resolution in Matthew 18:15 to 20. But right before he gave the parable of the lost sheep. So it is introductory passage to conflict resolution. They're all related. So spirituality, maybe it is the most important thing, maybe, or not. I don't know. Everything is important, but we need to talk about the spirituality of conflict resolution. But frankly, honestly, I have not done this before at all. I just developed this part for this class, and I just want to share that with you. So what is spirituality? We have life connected with God. Our life is mortal and we are so limited, but God offered his life. So Christ lives in us, and we breathe the breath of life, breath of God. So we have this spirituality in us. It's not, it's more than mental or emotional or informational. It's a spirituality. So we know how God acts, how Jesus Christ acts and deals with conflict resolution. There are tons of examples in the Bible. You know, once I started this learning, every passage looks to me like an example for conflict resolution. So from that perspective, I was able to read all kinds of stories in the Bible. So you may do that too. Yeah. So spirituality is we learn from God. You know, God teaches us how to do what to do in conflict situations, and we learn from them. So that's what I call spirituality of a conflict resolution. So in Matthew 18, verses 10 through 12 here, take care that you do not despise one of these little ones. For I tell you, in heaven, their angels continually see the face of my Father in heaven. What do you think? If a shepherd has 100 sheep and one of them has gone astray. So they are so connected, right? So this one lost sheep was gone astray, because this one was despised. This one was looked down. This lost one was maybe bullied. Yeah, in a way, he was despised, oppressed, and he didn't want to stay. So he was gone astray. And then they did not care for this lost one. So Jesus went out and found him. And what did Jesus do? What did Jesus not do? Well, first of all, he did not condemn the 99, the remaining sheep. He did not give them a harsh lecture. You better change, transform your culture of community. How could you do this to this little one? And Jesus did not do that. So in Matthew, it didn't say that, but in I think the Gospel of Luke, it says Jesus said, "Let's party, let's celebrate." The lost one is found. So what Jesus do is put this lost one on his shoulder so that everybody could see him. He lifted him up. Look at this one. He is also the child of God who is created in the same image of God. Every single one of you has the image of God. Look at this. Look at this one. This one has a same image of God. So I think, Jesus was showing this lost one, put him on his shoulder. Not just, that's how you carry the one, but literally he lifted this one up and then put him among them. And he showed up as light, not as judge, dark judge. He had in him already forgiveness, and he was saying, doing all these things, he was saying to the remaining 99 that I trust you guys. You can do this. You can see the image of God in this one too. I am with him. I'm on his side. God is on his side. Please welcome him. Let's celebrate. So, he did the same thing when he came back from after resurrection. He showed up at the shore. As you can imagine, those disciples felt guilty, felt shamed and stuff. But Jesus just showed up as the light. And then he came onto them and he said, "Let's eat. I will cook for you." That's the exactly same thing that he did to the 99 sheep. And also he did the same thing to Saul on the road to Damascus. Yeah, and he said, "Saul, why are you persecuting me?" That means I'm on these little ones that you are persecuting. They are the children of God too. So I think Christian conflict resolution is similar to the creation process. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. God showed up before the darkness as light. He showed up as light. I love this image. So whenever I go to a difficult meeting, I keep reminding me, I'm the light. Let's show up as light. I have forgiveness in me. I have benefit of doubt. I have trust in the power of God, not only in me, but in all of them, and show up as the light. And and he created everybody in the image of God. So that's the key point. All those players in conflict situation, all those players, they are created in the image of God. Bottom line. We often said that Jesus also died for them too, so that's what I love, the verse, the image of God and showing up as the light. So this is the spirituality of conflict resolution. The light, we come to the conflict situation as light, and then we lift up everybody, because everybody created in image of God. And then Jesus is full of grace and truth, right? Grace and truth. That's another beautiful thing that we can be empowered as we always remember this. Grace and truth, grace and truth. Not just truth, but always grace. So always grace and always truth. It's not half and half. Okay, full of grace and truth does not mean half and half. 100% grace and 100% truth. Can we keep the balance between these two? So Jesus always show what we did, He never skip or deny the elephant in the room. He never just ignore the elephant in the room. He speaks out verbally and through his body language, putting the lost sheep on his shoulder, right? And showed up there, right? And say, let's party, let's celebrate. So as pastor, I just encourage you guys to remember this spirituality, and this will strengthen your strength, your spirit, whenever you go into a meeting or any places. I'm going to show up as light. Everybody's created in the image of God. I will offer to anybody, to everybody, grace and truth. Nothing but the grace and truth. Yeah, so that's a spirituality. And do you have any questions? Somebody? Okay, I want to share with you let me see. Stop sharing. There is a reference that I want to share with you. Yeah, I will send this to you later. List of reference books according to theme. So causes of conflict and responses. This is from Lombard Mennonite Peace Center. They must have a lot of books. Communication, nonviolent communication. This is excellent book. This tells you, how to speak and listen fully, carefully. and also forgiveness, easy book, The Art of Forgiving, and Human Needs, a theory of human motivation, and mediation, also Mennonite Peace Center, and Ministry of Relationship. This book is my book that I wrote in Korean. It's not in English. It was published 2009 by Abingdon Press. I don't think you can buy it anymore. Slippery Slope, Can Stand, and Symptoms and Phases of Conflict, Moving Your Church Through Conflict, and Lombard Mennonite Peace Center, something like this. And there are so many, updated resources you can find online. I think that's it.
Any questions? Any comment? So, what is your one takeaway from today's lecture? What do you want to take away and how to apply it to your ministry setting? I will invite Myung-eun Park 목사님, and she will invite somebody else and we can go around.
My one take is Jesus is our mediator, especially between, God and us, and, imitating Jesus can be our responsibility to be a great mediator, between and among people when they have conflict. 조셉 목사님?
Yes. I learned many things, but I thought that if I recognize any symptoms of the conflict, it can be late. So, so I need to listen carefully and speak carefully. And then I want to pick the Pastor Taewon Ro.
Through the Bible, I learned that God and Jesus still teach us how to grow in conflict with people. And I'm still to handle how to overcome with people's conflict, but still I have time, so I need to practice, and also I need to change my mind. Pastor Soo-yeon Kim.
My takeaway is that it's always grace first. It actually kind of struck me to realize that how in the parable of the lost sheep, that the pastor, he never accused the rest of 99 sheep about casting the one sheep out of their gathering or community, but the pastor did show the example of how to include the lost one, how to love that one, how to bring that one back into the community. I think that'll stay with me for a while. Pastor Austin.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I think today I learned that the conflict is not just a simple thing, it's very complex. So to handle the conflict, I think I need to learn how to analyze the conflict I have is. So to be a good meditator, I think that I need to be more like the straight teacher, 전략가, straight teacher. 전략가, yeah, I should be the 전략가, like to handle the conflict well. Yeah. Yeah, and then I want to invite David 강 목사님.
So I've been taught many things through that lecture and lesson today. Actually, I've got the new appointment in California. So, well, it's simple. I would like to say learning to be familiar with all circumstances with new ministry and the new congregations, in order to understand their culture and then their tradition, so that we can revitalize the church ministry together. So we have a lot of conflicts between, congregation and congregation, but also between congregation and pastor as well. So I think I've been taught many things through that, the lecture, this morning. Thank you.
And did you know that the church that you are now serving is the church that my wife has served before? This Korean
I've
church.
heard.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
목사님.
I've
okay.
heard from you. Thank you so much.
Now, 영학 리 목사님이 last but not the least.
Yes. One thing that I take away from this lecture is that whenever I face conflict in ministry, now I know that I am not alone, that I have Reverend Haesung Lee as a reference, and this the recording of this lecture, and also that I'm not the only person going through all these conflicts in the ministry, and it is normal to have a conflict, so I won't be surprised. And there are steps and there are things that we should know as we handle this conflict. So thank you so much for this lecture, just to be reminded that we're in this together.
Thank you.
Now, would you close us with your prayer and blessing for these CRCC pastors?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's pray. Oh God, you are peace, and you are creator of all of us, heaven and earth. So we are in it, and you love the world so much. Gave your son Jesus Christ. We believe your presence in us, in our speaking and listening. Help us to show up like you did, bright light, hope and love, and possibility and support. Help us to be that every day and wherever we go. Bless these pastors with your wisdom, courage, and your spirit. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you all next
Thank
week.
you.
Next week was scheduled Bishop Youngjin Cho, but as some of you already know, Bishop went to GMC, Global Methodist Church, and he stepped down from our faculty also. So we invited the district superintendent Surely, he is in the Virginia Richmond area, but he's going to talk about collaboration with the laity. So pastoral leadership, how to collaborate with lay people in local church ministries. So with great expectation, come next week and see you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.